folks. Welcome back to Pop-Up Fizzle. I'm Jeff.
I'm Heidi.
And we're back with more Farscape. Now, it's been a hot minute since we've posted Farscape. We're a little bit behind. We're still recovering from the winter apocalypse and from you taking a trip out of town for a little bit.
Yeah, spring break is happening.
Spring break and going places with the kids. So our schedule's a little off. So we apologize for that.
Sorry, guys.
We also apologize. We don't have our usual friends. Rigel and the DRDs are not with us at the moment.
We gave them the night off.
They'd been... Anyway, but yeah, for us, we are about to start season 2, episode 8, called Dream a Little Dream. Last episode was Home on the Remains. Heidi, do you remember? I know it's been a hot minute since we watched that. It really
has.
And how many times can I say hot minute within the course of one video? Hot minute.
Yeah. I was going to say maybe a minute, like a minute's worth. I don't know.
Okay, so Home on the Remains was one where we saw the correlation between it and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, they were mining some stuff on something that was dead.
Of a giant,
a giant
dead creature.
Yeah, and there was some stuff going on with Tiana and dealing with the leaders / leaders, of the town.
She and her brother had history with them that was not.
Yeah.
Altogether pleasant.
Yeah, she was willing to give herself up and stay with that leader, the newer leader, to save Zan's life, since she apparently needed some meat.
She was budding.
Yeah, she was budding and causing all sorts of allergens to be released on Moya, and hurting Moya in the process.
It was a weird episode. It was a weird episode,
else.
But it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So now, Dream a Little Dream. I believe this is an episode that fills in some of what happened after the season finale last year.
Yeah.
When they split off, and we had Aaron and Dargo and John were kind of off on their own.
Oh, okay.
And then the 3 others were off on their own. I think this is an episode that fills in a little bit of what happened.
I was going to say, which is an odd thing to have later, but I guess maybe being able to backtrack a little bit, have a flashback episode. I feel like having a full episode later in the season as a flashback is a little weird. Sometimes I feel like it's better to kind of sprinkle those out throughout, like the episodes that are happening, so that we can kind of refer back to it. But maybe.
Well, I'll be honest. Like, I knew there was an episode that was going to deal with that, but I don't remember how they deal with it. So it could be
Swiss cheese.
Very relevant to the fact of where they are currently, that they need to remember what happened back then. So,
maybe.
So we'll see. And I'm excited. We're not quite midway through season 2.
No.
And I really feel like this show is, for the most part, firing on all cylinders at this point. Like, they really have a handle on these characters. They really have a handle on the relationships. The actors really are given their A game, and everything seems to be going really well. This is the show I remember loving so much, and I'm really glad, and I've said this before, I'm glad I get to share it with you, but we're both glad that we get to share it with you.
Thank you.
Because we have so many great comments, so many, Heidi's reacting to Deep Space Nine over elsewhere on the channel. She's got her own thing going on there, and she's got a lot of views, a lot of comments. There's no competition, but I will say that the sci-fi side of what we're watching is really vocal and very active in commenting on these reactions, and I really like that.
Yeah, and everyone's been so kind. Thank you.
Not just because I enjoy sci-fi when it's done well, but also because it's fun to feel the fervor and the excitement of the fan base for these shows as we get to episodes that people really love, and episodes that they just have a lot of thoughts about and why they didn't care for it and that kind of thing.
Right.
And you guys have been so good to not only share your thoughts and opinions, but also do it kindly.
Yeah.
Not only toward us, but toward each other in the interactions that I've seen.
Yeah. And lots of like, we always ask if you guys know more information about an episode or can provide some insight that's not spoilery. We're always glad to see that pop up in the comments as well.
Yeah, especially because even though I've got everything on Blu-ray and could probably go back and watch commentaries and stuff, right now we're kind of in the middle of 2 big moves, and so we don't have the Blu-rays. I think they're accessible somewhere, but we don't have time in our filming schedule to just sit and watch something for our personal, pleasure to dig in deeper into the series that we're watching. So having those conversations with you is really helpful and fun for us. But, given the state of the internet as a whole, and particularly this here YouTube.com. Sometimes conversations are not so friendly, so I've been really pleased and just super excited to see how kind everyone's been, how supportive everyone's been of these shows, and of our trudging back through them, and for me, reacquainting myself, and for Heidi getting acquainted with some of these early episodes. So anyway, thank you for that. We appreciate it. As always, if you want to see the unedited version of this reaction, you can find that on Patreon. That link is always down in the description. If you don't want to support us that way, but you do want to do a one-time gift, we've got Cash App and Venmo, and all those things are always in the description as well. You don't have to do any of those things. We appreciate that you're here. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, do whatever you can that doesn't involve supporting us monetarily. We're happy with that. We don't do this for a job. We're not doing it for a living. Heidi works a lot of hours as a nurse. I work a lot of hours chasing after children and writing my books and doing all that. So we're not counting on YouTube for our income. But we do appreciate every little bit that you guys are able to help. So thank you for that. We're going to dive into Dream a Little Dream. Any predictions for what went on with Rigel and
other than the
Gianna
blurb? I was going to say other than the blurb that we are seeing right now.
We're blurbing?
There's a blurb, which I choose not to comment on. I think I will be very excited to see what they were up to and what was actually happening on Moya as we were.
All I'm thinking is poor Zan being saddled with having to ride roughshod over Rigel and Gianna and keep them out of trouble.
That's unfortunate.
I don't envy
for
her. All right, here we go.
I'm under attack.
Oh.
Talking about it could help.
I doubt it. I keep seeing you die.
Fun.
Thanks.
Have Gianna or Rigel ever spoken to you about what occurred on Litigara?
Sounds like a planet where everybody sues everybody.
Something
Yep.
you wish I could help you.
So wait, they went to Mos Eisley?
Mm-hmm.
Buy a drink, beautiful.
Oh, Gianna, come on.
Have you found someone yet?
I'm onto it now. If Crichton, Dargo, and Aaron managed to get away, this is the last planet they could have...
Moya understands, but she feels she's being patient.
Tell Moya we'll begin a search for young talent as soon as we return.
What?
You can't be serious. I want to know
Silence,
it.
both of you!
Easy there, Ma Baldy.
Attention pedestrian, do not cross. You may proceed.
Oh, hit and run, hit and run.
It's more like a hit and drive because they weren't running.
Your friend's ours now.
You shouldn't have come. You and Rigel shouldn't still be here.
I want to help.
I'm a public counselor. Failing to heed, it's garbage. Plus that you're an off-worlder, didn't know the laws. Good judge in a good mood, I'd say expect the minimum sentence. 10 solar days and you're on your way home. 90% of our population are lawyers.
Hey, I was right.
Yeah.
Speak up.
That is not how you get out.
Did somebody forget to water Zan?
I don't know what's wrong with me.
We found the perfect subject.
I need you here to rescue me. I am so deeply alone.
You're not alone. You have Rigel. And Gianna.
Oh, God. I like that although he has some John mannerisms, he's still talking like Zan.
You want to escape? This will show you how to get out of the building. Why are you doing this? You want out or you want answers? Gianna! Rigel! Zan?
Oh, this is a setup.
Oh, yeah. Again.
You're under arrest, alien. For murder.
Well, the good news is you're no longer facing trial on the traffic violation.
Thanks.
I didn't murder anyone. I was set up.
3 solar days from now, she's executed. I put on a defense I even suspect of being false. And I suffer the same punishment as my client.
This is a very ass-backwards world. They don't have monarchs, political parties. They have ruling law firms.
Wolfram and Hart?
For all the things that Rigel is and all the trouble he brings, he's good in these situations, like figuring out who's in charge and how things work. And remembering her days as a DJ.
The charges for which she has been brought before. Are you entering a plea of not guilty?
Of this infraction, I must protest my innocence.
Do you wish to represent your client in a plea of not guilty?
No.
Absolutely no, Your Honor.
Without concurrence with your counsel, I cannot enter such a plea. I hereby find the defendant guilty as charged.
This is pure dren!
Return to Moya immediately.
Our offer stands.
You are now counsel for the defense.
So now Shanna needs to become a lawyer.
As you do.
But you and me, not lying, I am mad. God, I demand to see the judge. This is ridiculous. We aren't lawyers.
We are now. Shut up and read.
This book is the basis for all our law.
Few more microts and we all could have been aboard Moya. We all could have starburst to safety together.
That's not true.
You told me to go.
That's true.
I came back for you. I confess.
Ugh.
I am guilty.
You admit that you are guilty?
I do not want you and Rigel to die with me.
We haven't lied yet. Of course, the trial's only been on for a few microts.
In light of a full confession on the part of the defendant,
Wait. Yesterday, you refused my client's not guilty plea until her attorney had concurred with it.
There you go,
Well,
Rachel.
we do not concur with our client's confession of guilt.
I am guilty. Gag her. Your Honor, I insist that you gag my client for her own good.
this trial will proceed.
Would it shock you to know that we have experts of our own who are prepared to testify that when we...
How did my client manage to slip past you?
He gets very nervous.
You little toad. You had to go for helium now? I'm nervous. It happens.
I mobilized some men and proceeded to a spot where we hoped to intercept the offender for questioning. When we got there, we found the accused.
What the yachts is wrong with his face?
He had blue eyes. It was a dual full moon the other night. Targaryens with blue eyes usually stay inside.
I've been reading about a strange concept in this axiom of yours. The light of truth. There, this is him. The guy that was murdered, right? Nashton cleansing pills.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, I have questions for the witness. Yes, I do. I
Should take
definitely
them all
do.
at once.
I definitely do.
Was there anything unusual about that night, the night of the murder, having to do with your 2 moons?
Oh, yes. Now I see what you
Oh,
mean.
right. Yeah, right.
Well, looks like you got yourself quite a burn there. You were out that night, and so was the victim. Only you got burnt, and he didn't.
Moya is leaving.
Oh. What on this planet? Oh.
I'm Ja Ruman.
Is it part of your law to electronet somebody and drag them to your office in the middle of the night?
Yes.
I was impressed with your showing today.
Frel, you.
This is no longer about Zotar Zan. It's about you and the Hyneria.
You and the little slug will find yourselves up on charges. False charges.
Don't touch.
You won't be returning to your ship unless I allow it.
Sweet doggo.
From now on, you must confront your demons alone. You are the strongest individual I have ever known.
Ah.
Where the yachts have you been?
I got grabbed and taken by Ja Ruman.
Moya has chosen to give you a little more time. Do not thank me. It's entirely her doing. Your comms were open all the while you were speaking with that man.
Oh, please tell me you
Would not
recorded
leave
it.
you like that. If you stay, will you be able to save Zan?
I think I may have a way.
Thank you.
It's chancy and will require lashings of deception and trickery.
My favorite things.
Finally. You and I get to play to our strengths.
Do you vow to speak what is true, all that is true, and only what is true, by the sacred axiom?
I so vow. It's the most sacred oath a Litagaran can take.
So lying in court is really bad.
To lie before the law is unthinkable.
The defense designates this.
Truth
The
stick.
right of truth.
Proceed. Do not
Mock.
our law.
I have nothing to hide.
The night of the murder, the officer who arrested our client and who used to work for your law firm got a bad moonburn, but the victim didn't.
Well, could that be because the victim was murdered someplace else? And his body brought to the alley by the people who killed him, knowing that our client would be there?
Speaking hypothetically, I'd have to say yes.
Are you speaking hypothetically?
Yeah. Oh.
Did you send somebody to our client's cell to help her escape? To arrange for the police to discover our client with the victim, the already dead victim, in the alley?
No!
Did you plan and order the murder that our client now sits accused of in this court?
No, no, no!
Maximizing.
Yeah. You've been found guilty by the stick of truth.
Are you going to believe the protestations of an obviously guilty man? Or the very symbol of your law, your world, your truth?
Arrest Jar Ruman. All charges against Zota Zan are dropped. The prisoner is free to go.
The experience proves to me that my spirituality was lacking.
Is that why you recommitted yourself to the Delvian Seek?
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe it was worth it.
Thank you for your compassion.
No, thank you for yours.
All right, that is it for another episode of Farscape. Dream a Little Dream. Heidi, your thoughts?
So it was very enlightening to see what was happening with our trio that was aboard Moya when we ended the last season and started this new season. Very interesting. Now we see why Zan was doing her prayer things when it looked like, she needed to be helping out in that episode. I'm still unsure of the placement of this. I'm hoping that putting it here kind of sets up more things for the rest of the season. Like maybe there's a good reason why we needed to see it now instead of like in flashbacks or kind of tied. I'm thinking maybe it was a story where both sides were supposed to be told, or maybe we were supposed to see those flashbacks but they felt like maybe there was too much story to tell and they needed to break it off into another episode. I don't know. So I'm still kind of, puzzled as to the placement of it. However, love just how well these three work together. We haven't seen, we always see that Chiana and Rydell seem to kind of rise to the occasion or, do the right thing eventually, or be able to pull things off, without we wouldn't expect those good things to happen. So, it was nice to see them working together and also working to help Zan, even though, we wouldn't have expected them to be able to.
Sure. I like, Chiana and Rydell seem on the surface like troublemakers because that's kind of what they're given to. Yeah. But they both do care for Zan. They both care for some of the other people on board, even though they often pretend not to. And I feel like, getting to see Rydell kind of in his element. I mean, he's, Rydell is an interesting character to me because he gets played for comic relief so much.
Here.
Huh?
Even
here. But when we see him in, the element where he can actually be effective, where he, understands enough about the way cultures work because of who he is.
Yeah.
That he can gain some insight even into a strange place and figure out the approach. And even though they used a trick here to solve the problem, what they really did was prompt, they knew who is guilty. They had the proof of that. It wasn't like they were setting up somebody innocent to take the fall for something they thought Zan had done. They were just using a trick to really shed light on the guilty party. No pun intended. But, to me, that's the interesting side of Rydell, because he's not acting as a Dominar who doesn't care. He's acting because he cares for Zan, but he's using this, depth of knowledge that he has of other cultures and sort of his ability to adapt to whatever business transaction he needs to be making to help someone that he cares about, in this case, Zan. And we also see that, Chiana, she was willing to get into that fight. She, in spite of the fact that she knows their system is kind of scary, she had seen that up to that point, and she was still willing to fight for Zan. So I think, as always, the character beats that we get are enough in and of themselves. But the story I like because, obviously there's a lot of stuff to plumb there with, a whole planet of litigators and, gosh, what a messy place that would be.
Oh my gosh. But it's also really funny that, their law was just this little slim little pocket book that, anybody could read.
Sure.
And they wound up expanding that stuff to just volumes and volumes about it. And, that's kind of, one could say that that's kind of where a lot of law has come today. So this is still very fresh and, worth watching now.
You could draw parallels between the, modern law. You could draw parallels to religion. You could draw parallels to social things, the notion of just being decent to one another, being kind to one another, has gone on to include, all these extraneous things and cancel culture and all these weird things that have sort of come to, get into minutia that really, if you just kind of brush all that back, get to just don't be a jerk. Just be, we say all the time, and we tell our kids this, just be kind. If you've got an opportunity to be kind in a situation, just choose to be kind. Yeah. It's not that hard. But yeah, I think, as with anything, we talk about all the time people being messy. As with anything, you take a simple concept and you give it to enough people and they'll find a way to mess it up.
Oh, 100%.
You give a committee one thing that they need to do and they'll find 5 different ways to make a mess of it, and they'll argue about it until somebody quits or somebody throws somebody under the bus or whatever. That is people. That's just how that works. So yeah, the notion that they took this little book, it probably, a dozen or so laws, and then have extrapolated it into crazy detail just to keep themselves working, just to keep themselves relevant, is very human. In spite of this being an alien culture. So yeah, all that very interesting. As always, I love when we get to focus on a character or two and glean a little bit more knowledge. Zan was kind of the focus of this issue, but I feel like we didn't learn as much. We did learn some about her, but not to the extent that we just felt the connection, her connection to those that were lost, but also Zan and also Rigel and Chiana's connection to her and their attempt to save her, but also, a little bit of their response to, the missing comrades as well, that, Chiana was just wanting to get into a fight and get into trouble, and Rigel just wanted to drink because they couldn't cope with how they were feeling about not knowing.
Yeah.
And poor Zan having to be the mother figure and trying to hold them all together, but at the same time, she wants to fall apart herself because she's worried too.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really human thing too.
Very much so.
And I think that's what makes, for me anyway, it's what makes Farscape work, is that, for all of its alien civilizations and alien characters and anything, it's really a human story. People are messy. Everybody in the show is messy. They've got their own baggage. They've got their own flaws. And yet they've come to care about each other in a way that, sometimes allows them to brush off their silliness and stand up for something good and do right by somebody else. So I really like that. And I like these kinds of episodes for that reason.
Yep. Same.
Anyway, that's it for me. Did you have anything else to add?
No, I really enjoyed this. It was fun to see the hallucinations of the rest of the crew, Zan's hallucinations of them, but I really did enjoy the perspective of looking at those 3 characters, and Chiana and Rigel, and in the context of what they were doing after they thought the rest of the crew was lost.
Yep. Anyway, that's it for us. We will be back with episode 9, Out of Their Minds, next week, hopefully, as long as everything goes according to plan and we stay on schedule. Fingers crossed on that deal. Yeah, that's it. In the meantime, you can let us know what you thought about this episode down in the comments below. We will engage with you there. We like doing that very much. And other than that, we'll just see you next week.
All right. Thanks. Bye.